Hi everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and today I thought I'd show you something I just finished making, and also I thought I would do an unbundling. You saw these in my last video, but I never took the binding off of these, so I'm going to do that and show you what these actually look like. I hate to break up the bundle, but I'm dying to see what these really look like when they're opened up. But before I do that, I have a little video insert here showing you a new way, for me, a new way of layering my quilt. Now, I saw this on Mr. Domestic, and then I did some exploration further on YouTube, and this technique has been around for quite a long time, and it's called vertical layering or wall basting a quilt. And essentially, as the name implies, you put your layers of your quilt on a wall, use your spray basting spray, and put your layers together. Now, the advantage to that over being on horizontal area is that it's easier, or it looks easier, to smooth it out so you don't get any bumps and bulges in your quilt. However, the disadvantage of this is you need to have a wall space large enough to handle the width and the length of your quilt. Now, the width is a little bit more important than the length, because you can let it pool at the bottom, and there'll be enough 3/4 of your quilt will probably be basted, so you can just lay it then down flat and do the rest of it, and that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But I have a problem, and the problem is I don't have a wall space big enough to handle this anywhere in my house. And second of all, I really am not I don't really like the idea of attaching my quilt to a wall. Like some of these people were pinning them, some of them were taping them, and then you're using your spray basting spray, which has overspray, and that's going to get all over your walls, and it's going to make your walls kind of sticky. And yeah, great if you had an area in your house that might be unfinished and you had a big blank wall kind of a thing that you could do that on. But I don't have that at all. So I got thinking about this, and I got thinking about my folding tables. My folding tables that I have are actually, when they're extended out, are 72 inches long and 30 inches wide. And I have 3 of those tables, and you've seen them in a previous video where I showed basting with a pool noodle on the top of those tables. So I was doing it horizontally. So I was thinking if I could figure out a way to hang my backing fabric onto these tables set up on their end, then I might be able to do this. So in a sense, it's like a portable wall. So although in this video clip I'm going to show you, I'm doing a fairly small quilt. It's only 42 by 40 inches, or 42 by 44, and it fits very well on, you know, 2 30-inch tables, making it 60 inches wide and 72 inches long, so no problem there. I did have one problem with these tables though. They fold in the middle, and they lay flat when you have them sitting the way they're supposed to be sitting, but when you have them up on one set of legs, they have a slight 30-degree or less angle. But as you'll see, that didn't really give me that much grief. So I'm taking you along with me to show you exactly what I did. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do today is do something that's called wall basting. Essentially with wall basting, what you do is you pin your backing up to a wall, spray it with your basting spray, and layer your quilt. But you're doing it vertically, in other words, on a wall. But I don't have a wall big enough to do this. So I have 2 collapsible tables I've set up on their ends. They don't open up completely straight because of the way they break in the middle for folding purposes, and so there's a little bit of a slant. And what I've done right now is I have taken 2 large clamps and clamped my backing to these 2 tables, smoothed it out, and I've put a little bit of painter's tape on the edges to hold it that way. And now I'm going to try and put my batting on this with the spray basting, and so we'll see how that works. So I've already cut my batting, for this. This is a small quilt. It's only about 42 by 44. And if I got this the right way, I think I go this way. I hope I go this way. Okay, I'm going to have to check this for length. Just give me a second. Okay, so it should go like this. And I have more batting and more backing than I need. So I had to piece this together, so I'm just going to eyeball how close to center I get it. Now I am pulling it a little bit to get the wrinkles out as I smooth it down. Just readjusting my painter's tape. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to spray it again. I'm just going to spray the top part first, just a little bit on the top to get this started. Make sure I get my quilt the right way. Here we go. Sort of reminds me of those old felt boards they used to have in elementary school when I was a little kid, where they stuck the felt pieces on, the shapes and things to tell a story. Now I'm just going to throw that up there and spray the rest. Now I have used a fair amount of basting spray. And I'm giving it a little tuck on the bottom to pull it straight. Hope you're able to see this. And guess what? I've run out of batting. I cut my batting just a little too short. So I'm going to have to cut another strip and piece it under this. So I'm going to turn off the camera, I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've cut another strip of batting, and I'm going to take my spray and I'm not actually going to butt it up to this, or I'm actually not going to overlap it, I'm going to butt it up to it. Now what I could do is I have some batting tape that I could put across there to join the little gap. I'm not sure if I should or not. I'm going to go and see if I can find that and just see what I can do with that. Now what I have here is what's called a fusible batting tape. It's meant for joining two pieces of batting together, but you need to use heat on it. And in the situation I'm in right now, that's not going to work so well, but I think I can just use my basting spray and that'll be enough. It'll just smooth out the gap between the two pieces of batting. At least that's my theory. I'm just shifting here so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that's going to hold. And that'll be good enough. Need some scissors. Okay. Now, I'll just unclip these two parts, and this should go over this very nicely. Okay. I think I've done it. Now, that is this very small quilt, but in theory, I could use this on, those tables are 30 inches across each, so that's 60 inches wide, and they're 72 inches long, so I could, if I put a third table, which I have one, I could get as much as a 90-inch quilt by 72 inches, and I think I could make it work with that. So yes, this was easier, but this is a smaller quilt. So is it easier? I think the real test will be of this system is to use it on like a queen size and see how it works with that. But for now, I think it is working. Okay, so I've put the tables back down in their proper fashion, and here is the layered quilt, and you can see it's turned out pretty flat, and I have trimmed the excess fabric, backing fabric and batting off it, but I've left a couple of inches around the outside for shrinkage when I quilt this. On the back, there were a couple of little wrinkles that I've managed to smooth out with an iron, but for the most part, this came out pretty flat, and it was pretty fast when I did it that way. Now, as I said, this is a smaller quilt. It's to be seen what will happen when I try the same method with, say, a queen size quilt. But right now, I'm kind of happy with that. It took me less time to do it than when I lay it out flat on top of these tables. And it was easier to smooth out the bumps and the bulges. So it's ready now for quilting. So as I said, that worked out very well for that size of quilt. Will it work for a bigger quilt? And that'll be the real test of that system. As I said, I have a third table, which will give me a total of 90 inches in width. It won't give me any more length. I'll still only have 72 inches, but you're really talking what, about 12 or 20 inches that don't fit on the table at the bottom, so I think that's not going to cause me a lot of grief. We'll see whenever I get around to trying it on a bigger quilt. But right now, I'm very much impressed with what I did with those tables. So, if there's a will, there's a way. So, let's talk about this little girl. This is my Christmas angel. I'm planning on making a set of these and possibly giving them to a friend as a Christmas present. They make great little holiday decor. I can make them any colors I want. Although she looks a little bit on the gray side, that was supposed to be sort of a silver, but I think I would use a lighter thread next time if I want to do it in silver. But I might do one in gold. I might do one in blue, a light blue or something like that. Just play around with the colors. This is all embroidered in my machine embroidered. You do it in pieces. There is a little bit of fabric in the skirt and in the wings, as you can see. So that's a bit of applique, but very easy. It's in the hoop applique, and that's really, really easy to do. And then you put it all together, and it's put together very much the same way as you put the pumpkin together that I showed you. And that's just the little eyelets that go through or the little buttonettes that go through the eyelet holes. And then, of course, I put a little drop of glue on each one of those, and it holds everything together. I think it's really quite nice. And the beauty of it, too, hollow in the bottom, so I can put one of those LED lights or an electric tea light underneath this, and it'll have a nice little glow to it. So I think it would make, a set of these, 3. I might be able to make this a little bigger, so there'll be one that's a little bigger than the other 2, that kind of thing. But either way, with the little lights in them, I think they'd be a very attractive Christmas decoration on your coffee table, on an end table, on a or on a mantle somewhere. So that's something that I've been working on. Okay, let's get to the main event. We're going to open up these bundles. Let's start with the one that I said I thought these colors would be, for some reason, remind me of New Year's Eve, possibly because of the metallic glitter in them and the, the black and the grays and the purples and things like that. So I'm going to open this up. This is a bundle that I got from Thimbles and Things in Aurelia there a couple of weeks ago. And we're just going to take a look at what these are like. Now they are sort of, well, they're not really Christmas in their patterning. But this one's in black, and it's going to be very hard to show. Maybe in the light you can see it. Got a little bit of a shimmer to it, but very elegant. Now this is a very metallic fabric. As you can see, it's sort of gray on black, but very, very shiny. And this one is kind of I don't know what you would call this color. It's sort of a silver blue with a little bit of black in the background. It looks like these are all the same patterns. Walter's rustling in behind me, as you can hear. And then in purple, same pattern. I think they all have the same pattern on them. And again, they all have that shimmer to them. And the last one, I don't think it's really got, yeah, it's the same pattern, but it's much lighter and also lots of glitter in it as well. Now these are all fat quarters. So this is the size of one fat quarter. So it's roughly, let's see, it's 22 inches by 20 inches. So that's a generous fat quarter. So these would make, they'd make really nice napkins. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. These would make really nice napkins. And I have enough of them to make the napkins double-sided because I bought 2 bundles of them. So I might just do that. And I would make the napkins using my serger. So I'm going to lose a little bit of the edge on it. I'll probably lose about a ½ inch all the way around, but that's okay because, as I said, these are 21 by 22 inches, and a napkin, an average table napkin is about 18 inches square. So that would work out no problem. So yeah, and what I could do too is I could embroider some little thing. I don't know what I would embroider. I'd have to figure it out, look through my files of embroidery designs, find something and put down in the corner of each napkin. Now I had other fabric I was going to make napkins from, but you know, well, then again, okay, I don't know if you'd want to use, I don't know if you want metallic in a napkin. I don't think it comes off. Doesn't seem to. But it's a little rough feeling. So I don't know if, now that I think about that, I don't know if I would make these into napkins. I'll have to think about that. But anyways, they're very nice. Okay, now we have this gargantuan bundle. And these are all fat quarters. And they say that each one measures 18 inches times half the width of fabric. Well, width of fabric is anywhere between 42 and 44 inches. So these are approximately 18 by 21 or 22 inches. So very much the same size as what's here. Very close to that. These are not Christmas fabrics. They are Robert Hoffman, and they are come from the Christine Marquez collection. So, and there's also supposedly 2 panels in here too. In total, there are 34 pieces, includes 2/3 of a yard panels. And total yardage on this is 9.334 yards, which is approximately just maybe under 9 meters in Canadian measurements. So we'll cut off the binding. I hate to open it up because it's so pretty. But if it's not opened up, then I'll never use it. And then we have a problem. Okay, let's see what we've got. Okay, so this first one, which is a sort of a floral, some reddy pinks and purples and greens in it. Okay, that's very nice. In fact, that was the one that was on the top, and that's the one that attracted my eye initially to this bundle. Then it goes down here, so we're getting into shades of red. And of course, a bundle like this, when they're put together, when they're curated like this, that's a word that I hear being used with fabrics these days, curated. They all go together. They're from one collection, they all coordinate. These are pretty, with the purples and the pinks in them, and the blues. And of course, you know that I really like purples and blues. And now we're moving into sort of the orangey yellow. And then right into yellow. And basically they're kind of paired up. There's only one of each of these, but they're paired with one that could go with it. So basically you have 2. And there are enough fat quarters in this that you could make a fairly sizable quilt. Now, I don't think you'd want to make the whole quilt, although you might, out of all of these without like a blender or without, say, a background fabric like a white or some kind of solid color. Greens. And now we're moving into a little darker greens. I love that with the flower on the end. Let's just open this up a bit and see what we got. Oh yeah. Oh, that's very, very pretty. I am not a fan of green. I don't hate it, but it's not one I'll immediately go to. I always go for the blues and the purples first, but this might make me break out of the mold. Now we're moving into sort of the teals. And again, a spot of pink, spot of blue, spot of purple. Now we're moving into sort of a lighter blue. And as we go through, move through this pile, we're going into darker blues. Now, are they the same pattern? A lot of them yeah, there seems to be two patterns, one with big flowers on it and other ones with little what look like leaves. So for example, on that one there's like little leaves, and then we're back here to a darker one. So we have a good mixture in this collection of your lights, mediums, and darks, and that's what you want. And there's the floral idea again, and there's the leaves. And now our blues are moving more into the purpley range and into sort of a lavender, more purple. And now we're getting some really bold looking colors here, and we're moving our way into from purple to lavender to pink. Again, pink is another color I am not fond of, but in certain combinations it can look really nice. Like for example, in this piece right here, I'm not disliking that at all. I'm not disliking any of these fabrics. I like them all. Now here, these are the panels. So I'm curious to see what these look like. Ooh. Ooh, very spectacular. I have to stand up here to show this to you as soon as I get it unfolded. Wow. That is fantastic. Now I could see using that as a wall hanging or as just the focal piece of a quilt. Build the quilt around it. Now here's the second panel. See if I'm equally impressed with this. Yes, I like that one too. I think it's basically the same pattern design except in a little different color wave. So yeah, now the dilemma comes with, what do I do with panels? I have been working with panels lately for the Christmas things. My Santa and the gnome one that I did, I showed those last time. But generally speaking, I don't work with panels, but I guess I'm going to have to, aren't I? In fact, I have a few other panels. I actually have a panel with butterflies on it that might go with this too. So I may have to scour the internet to find some ideas for how to use these panels. And if anybody out there has some ideas, let me know. Because really, you don't want to cut up the panels. They're too pretty on their own. And that is a possibility too. These might make really nice. It would be very simple to do, but make these into wall hangings. And as I said, my mother's now in a different room in the nursing home, and she has a private room. I haven't been able to see the room because of COVID, but I'm thinking if she has room in there, I could maybe make a couple of wall hangings or something. And these would be very nice as wall hangings, I think, in her room. Plus, she has the potential to be moving to a brand new nursing home in the new year that they have built, and those rooms are much nicer than what she's in right now. So yeah, this might be nice as, a housewarming kind of a thing or whatever. We'll see. But anyways, I unbundled all of these so we can take a look at them. Now I have to put them away in a drawer. I really like to leave them out so, you can put them on display because people do that. But I really don't have room in my sewing room for that kind of thing. So anyways, I hope you learned something and you enjoyed watching or looking at my fabrics and everything like that. And I'll be sure to show you what I do with them in a upcoming video. So we'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.